Hello, Amber Ludwig here, the creator of the AuthenticLeaderAcademy.com, and I want to thank you for taking time to watch another episode of our Authentic Leader webcast here today. And this is a very important topic that we're going to be talking about today, and that is managing your mindset. Now, chances are you're thinking about all the things that you need to do in your business and how do I grow a following and how do I monetize my business and how do I create a webinar, do a podcast, and all of these other things are floating around in your mind. But at the end of all of that, if you strip all of those to-dos away, what's left is your mindset. While this might not be at the forefront of your mind as a topic that you really want to learn about, I'm telling you that if you learn how to manage your mindset, it is going to give you success in all areas of life. And I know because I'm living proof of that. My mindset was not always strong. I can tell you that right now. Back when I was a young person, young adult, a teenager, even into elementary school, to be honest, I had a weak mindset. I honestly just felt negative all the time because I grew up and I didn't feel very well liked. I didn't feel like I was good enough, and I wasn't getting the best grades, and I wasn't the prettiest girl in school, and. We tend to look inward and we judge ourselves harshly, or we assume what other people are thinking about us, and it can lead to a lot of internal suffering. And when you start thinking negatively about yourself, things just kind of plummet from there, right? It's not like we're going to be well liked in school if we don't even like ourselves. So mindset is one of those very, very important things. If you can get control of those negative thoughts, or if you can get control when you are lazy or not motivated or whatever it is, we can actually just make a little shift into having discipline and creating more positive results in our life. This isn't me over here being a rah-rah cheerleader. This is me giving you the secret to success, in my opinion. Mindset is everything. Now, a lot of times in our lives, we look at the things that we really want in our life, right? We want the lifestyle, we want more money, we want a great relationship, we want to be physically fit and in shape, right? But why aren't those the things that we have in our lives? A lot of times we're making less money than we want or even need. A lot of times we let our health slip. We're not eating as well. We, kind of get down on ourselves, and that's when that whole bag of potato chips is gone. Or we know that we should be doing a certain task in our business, like write that blog post, yet we don't do it. So what is it in us that makes us, we know what we want to do and need to do, but why don't we do those things? I have no idea. I mean, I have a few theories, right? But I'm human just like you are, and I'm still trying to figure it out as well. But I can tell you that when I am not doing the things I know I want to do, then there's no motivation there, right? So what's behind the no motivation? Well, a lot of times it can point back to your why. If your why, the reason why you're doing these things, isn't super strong, well, then it's not going to be enough motivation to carry you through those tasks that you really don't want to do. For example, let's take working out. If you know that you want to be working out, yet you're not doing it, well, then your why isn't strong enough. Maybe it's not strong enough to say I want to lose weight. Maybe it's not strong enough to say if I don't lose weight, I'm going to get diabetes. Maybe that's even not strong enough for you. We're all built differently. We all have different motivations. But maybe the reason that your why is to lose weight is because your little niece wants to have you hold her up in your arms, and you can't physically hold her up. That could be a why. I mean, we never know what our motivations are, but I would encourage you to keep searching for what that reason is that is so strong that you'll do whatever it takes to get it done. And that's going to be enough to carry you through when you're unmotivated, when you don't want to write that blog post. Why are you writing that blog post to begin with? It shouldn't be because you think you should be doing it or because you have to do it. You should be writing that blog post because there's somebody on the other side reading it that is going to get massive inspiration and get results, and it's going to transform the direction of their life because you wrote that content in a specific way. And if you really look back and you think about who you're impacting and the effect that that can have, a lot of times that's big enough to carry us through in the times when we're not motivated. But it really has to do with your mindset here again. And I'm going to teach you my 6-step process for managing your mindset, as well as the 5 biggest mindset issues. So we're going to be talking about a lot today. But what I want you to do is take notes. And I want this to be something that you don't just listen to once and oh, that was nice. Yeah, I should really do that. I want you to make a decision right here and right now to commit to what we're talking about here today. Commit to this training. Really try to take it on and make it a habit, make it a life choice. Now, something that really shifted for me was when I was 16 years old, and that's when I experienced my rock bottom moment. I did not like who I was. I did not like how I was showing up in the world. I was very negative. I was lost. I was getting poor grades in school. I was definitely not well liked, probably because I was pushing everybody away. And I was just I was lashing out at the world because I was unhappy. And the more unhappy that I was, the more I dwelled on how unhappy I was. And I was eating poorly, and I wasn't exercising, and I was rotting away as a person, to be honest. And when I was 16, I had this rock bottom moment, and many of you might have heard the story already, but literally at that night, I looked up at the stars, and I had to ask myself the scariest questions. And I just thought to myself, is this who I am? Is this how I'm going to show up in the world? And those questions scared me to death. And if you think about it, could you ask yourself those questions right now? Could you be fully honest with yourself and really ask, am I showing up how I want to show up? Am I fully being who I want to be in this life? And a lot of times the answer is no, and that's a hard thing to face. Many people might not even have the guts to face that. But I knew that I was headed down a dark road, and it was only going to get worse if I didn't snap out of it. And so it wasn't anything super miraculous. It was just 2 questions that changed the course of my life. And from that moment on, what I did is every time I came across a decision, I measured it up against who do I want to be. And that's honestly the power behind my mindset. If I'm looking at my email inbox and I have over 1,000 emails sitting in that inbox, and it's brewing all of this pressure on me and this stress, and I just feel terrible that I haven't responded to those emails, or I haven't opened them, or I haven't read them, and it's just weighing on me and weighing on me. I can beat myself up and feel bad about that, or I can think, is this the kind of person I want to be? Do I want to be the kind of person that has 1,000 unread emails that's just sitting here feeling like crap about it? No, I don't want to be that kind of person. So I'll sit down and I'll get disciplined and I'll get focused. I'll clear out everything else on my to-do list, and I will manage that inbox. And I'm just going to start deleting everything that's more than a month old, and then I'm going just automatically delete it. If I haven't read it in a month, I'm not going to read it. And then I go back through every email that's sitting there from the past month, and I just look at the subject lines and who it's from. If it's from a bunch of email lists that I've subscribed to, delete all of those. And then I'm getting down to the core root emails, and I sit there and I reply to them, so I never have to feel like that ever again. And then I just manage the emails as they come in every single day. And my emails are consistently at 10 or less in my inbox. Oftentimes I try to get it down to 0 emails in my inbox because it makes me feel good, and that's how I want to show up in the world. I want to be responsive to the people that are emailing me. Or I can think about working out. Working out is not the most fun thing in the world when you're sitting on the couch and you feel lazy and blah, blah, blah. But working out is extremely important for your long-term health, to reduce stress, improve brain function, for your overall happiness. There's a lot of reasons that you want to work out. Well, you have to have discipline over your mindset. And I'd be thinking to myself, what kind of a person do I want to be? Do I want to be the kind of person that sits on the couch and watches 8 hours of TV or 4 hours of TV a day, that eats potato chips and eats chocolate chip cookies and looks down at my gut and just thinks, ugh, this is gross. Look at this fat around my gut. It just makes me unhappy. It's hard to breathe. I don't like the way that I look when I wear clothes or when I have to go out. In fact, I avoid going out because I don't want anybody to see my ugly body. Why would anybody want to choose to live that way? So make the decision based on who you want to be and how you want to show up in the world, and it becomes far easier. You don't have to fight yourself as much because each decision it's mindless. You literally say, no, this isn't who I want to be. I want to be the person that works out and feels good about herself. So that's going to be enough of a why to get me off that couch and get me in the gym or get me working out or active or moving. One of the reasons that people don't do what they want to do is because of their comfort zone. It's uncomfortable getting outside of our comfort zone. It's far more comfortable sitting on the couch and feeling bad. We think that it's easier than actually getting up and making a change, because change is uncomfortable. Change is scary. We don't know the outcome of change, and we don't want to have regrets. And so we sit here and we feel bad about ourselves. And you know what? Humans in general have the ability to feel terrible about themselves all the time. You don't need to consciously add to that by not managing your mindset. So that's why, again, this is such an important topic that we're covering today. And what I want to do is I want to break your mindset challenges down into 5 different areas. These are the 5 mindset challenges that you really have to be aware of, and awareness is the key to managing your mindset, as I'll talk about in just a minute. But the first mindset challenge that you're going to face is what I call your inner critic. That's the voice that comes up inside of you and says, you can't do that. You're not good enough. You don't have the experience. You don't have enough energy. You can't go climb that 14er. You can't go swim those laps at the pool. You can't go flirt with that person. You can't afford that car. You see where I'm going with this? And we do this all day long. It's crazy. If you just become aware of your mindset and hear that chatter in your brain, it's unbelievable how negative people talk to themselves all the time. So your inner critic is one of the biggest issues that you're going to have, especially in your business moving forward. The second mindset challenge is going to be outer critics. This would be your best friend, your husband, your wife, your parents, your whoever, your siblings, saying, I don't think you should get into that business. That seems very hard. Why would you leave your safe job at the bank? I don't know if you should take that yoga class. I think that you need to get into, shape by doing this other thing. I've heard nasty things about yoga. People are so quick to pass judgment because they're scared of doing it themselves. And when people are scared or unhappy or in their comfort zone, they try to recruit other people to do that too because it makes them feel better, right? If I'm unhappy and I don't work out, I'm sure as heck going to recruit you to be unhappy so that you're not working out so we can complain about it together. And then I don't have to feel nearly as bad that I'm not the one getting up and exercising, right? It's so true. And a lot of times it's at a subconscious level. If you were to ask the person criticizing you, hey, what's up with that? Why do you criticize me? That's not the answer that they're going to come up with, but it makes sense, doesn't it? People like hanging out with other people that make them feel comfortable, that don't grow them and stretch them. And actually, that's why I intentionally do the opposite. I hang out with people that push me far outside of my comfort zone and grow me and stretch me and make me do things that I don't want to necessarily do, within reason, obviously. But truly, I want to stretch myself and grow so I can experience life more. Why? Because that's who I want to be, and that's how I want to show up in the world. I don't want to be somebody that sits in a little cave in their basement, watches TV, and is isolated from the world and feels like, oh, well, there goes my life. That was it. I want to be so proud of the life that I lived. I want to know that I touched lives, that I experienced life, that I traveled around the world, that I wrote, that I listened to music, that I learned music. There's a whole list of things that create who I want to ultimately be. And if I just keep remembering that, I'll be able to manage that mindset better. The third mindset issue that you're going to have to face is comparison. And this is a tricky one, especially if you're an online entrepreneur. But comparison is really wild. Have you ever been on Facebook and you're scrolling through your Facebook feed and you see that the person in your industry who's kind of the top dog industry leader just launched another webinar, just did another podcast, just did another blog post, and you're thinking, gosh, how does this person do it all? Man, I suck. I can't do it as good as they can. The grass sure is greener on the other side, right? Or so we think. The grass is not always greener on the other side, my friend. It might look like people have it so easy. You might even be looking at me like, wow, how does she get it all done? It seems like she's always doing something. She's always getting results. But you know what? I have hard days. Heck yes, I have days where I get super lazy and I don't want to do anything, and I constantly have to pump myself up and get motivated to do something. I have days where it just seems like everything goes wrong. I have issues with clients sometimes. I have issues battling marketing sometimes. I get confused. I have technical issues that make me want to throw my computer out the window. I mean, that's all very normal. That's the human experience. But how do I react when those things happen? If my internet goes down, well, my whole business stops, right? I need the internet to keep going. Well, I have a choice there, don't I? I could freak out, I could get unhappy, I could scream at the Comcast guy, I could demand that somebody come out here and turn on my internet, and I could get all heated and it could ruin my day. It could completely change the course of my entire day. Or I could just take a deep breath and realize that this is life, and life stuff happens all the time. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move forward when I can, the best I can. And that's it. And that's all I do. And if I end the day a little behind schedule, then I know that it's going to be made up tomorrow. And the universe or God or whoever you want to call it is going to clear up my schedule a little bit tomorrow to make up for that time. I'm going to get it done, right? Because I believe in myself. So you kind of have to take a look at what comparison is doing to you and make sure that you're not letting that hold you back from being your greatest self and hitting that success. I'd say the fourth mindset challenge is fear. And this is a biggie, right? Fear is something we will all feel all the time for the rest of our lives. Can't get around it. There's no cure for it. It's just there. Fear. Fear of exposure, fear of success, fear that I'm not going to be well liked, fear that I'm going to screw up this video, fear that I'm going to look like an idiot, fear that I'm not going to make enough money, fear that my relationship is going to go south, fear that my parents are going to pass away at some point, fear about, having some disease at some point, fear of whatever it is. There's billions of fear opportunities in the world. And what are you going to do about it? Are you going to be somebody that feels that fear and thinks, oh, I can't get up on that stage. I can't write that book. I can't go and, ask this person if they want to do a joint venture together. I don't know if I could send out that second email to my email list. I couldn't reach out to that person on social media. Fear can absolutely stop you dead in your tracks if you let it. The only way through fear is through it. The only way out of your comfort zone is out of it, taking that first step and going right through it. And this really is the truth. There's no way around it. You just have to make that step right through the center of it, and you have to take action. So fear is definitely a big one. And I would say that the last mindset challenge is lack of abundance. So if we have a scarcity mentality, this can really paralyze us, right? It shows up big time in money and love, in all kinds of different areas of our life. If we fear that we don't have enough, then that's not good. That's not healthy. That means we're always scraping and scrambling and manipulating and stressed and all kinds of horrible feelings. We don't want that, right? So we have to manage all of these mindsets to move forward through them. And what I did is I created 6 steps to managing my mindset, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. These are the same 6 steps that I use anytime I face a big problem. So here we go. The first one is you have to have awareness. I was just being interviewed on a summit a couple of hours ago, and we were talking about awareness and how do you even become aware. And the way that I explained it is that think about it like when you're driving to a friend's house and you take a left-hand turn. You've never been to your friend's house before. You're trying to figure it out. You take a left-hand turn and something in your gut, in your intuition says, I don't think this is right. And you don't know one way or another if it's right, but you just get that feeling that you're not in the right place. That's awareness of your body. That's awareness of your intuition. And it's like a muscle. The more you work on it, the more you're in tune to it, the louder that's going to get and the more you can trust it. I have learned to completely trust my gut instincts and to be extremely aware of my body and what's coming up inside of me. One way that you can cultivate awareness is also through personal development. I strongly recommend you go out and buy Hal Elrod's book, and it's called The Miracle Morning. And it talks about 6 different ways that you can really have a personal development focus and get to know yourself better. The better you get to know yourself, the better you can define who you want to be and how you want to show up in the world, the better that you're going to create success in your life with ease. So whether you're reading or writing or exercising, saying affirmations, visualizing, all of these ways will help us get in tune with ourselves and build that greater awareness. I am very aware of my feelings, my thoughts, my reactions, and that's really helped me guide and manage my mindset. So awareness is the first thing. You kind of have to be in that moment of, oh, this is my inner critic coming up again, or oh, this is my fear coming up again. Oh, I'm comparing myself to this other person and it's making me feel bad. Okay, this is an opportunity to manage my mindset. And it's literally, as soon as you do that, it separates you from those negative thoughts that are just going to hold you down. And the faster you can do that, the better, because your mind will just keep growing and expanding and embellishing on something to make it so huge that it literally stops you dead in your tracks from doing whatever it is that you're afraid of, right? So what you have to do is have awareness of it right off the bat. That first moment you have those thoughts of, God, I suck. Boom, have that awareness of, oh, wait a minute, I need to manage my mindset. That's the first key. That's probably the hardest part of all of this. The second step is what I call logic. And what I mean by that is I ask myself, is this the hardest thing that I've ever been through? Or is there really truth behind this? So if I'm comparing myself to somebody and I feel like I suck compared to them, is there any real truth to this? Do I know for sure that I suck more than that person? No. Well, then why would you think that? I don't know. And then almost you feel kind of like an idiot because you're thinking, wow, what was I doing there? Why was I giving myself such a hard time when I really don't know anything about this person? I don't know their struggles or hardships. I don't know if that product is any good. It looks good, but I have no idea. It could suck and it could be a horrible disaster. Why am I giving myself such a hard time? And literally, I snap myself out of it by having that kind of logic. Or if I'm about ready to get up on stage and I'm afraid of it, let's say, I ask myself, is this the hardest thing I've ever done? Not even close. Well, then why are you so afraid of it? Good point. And I get to that point where it's logical that I'm kind of being a little ridiculous right now. The next thing I do, the third step, is I start building up my confidence. And what I mean by that is I look back on past experiences when I've stepped through fear, when I've overcome, that feeling of fear or comparison or beating myself up or sabotage or whatever it is. And I think, oh yeah, I was afraid the last time I went out on stage and I killed it and everybody loved it. So I'm going to do that again now. That's exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to go out and I'm going to rock that stage. Or if I'm doing a video and I think, wow, well, I haven't done video yet before, but I can get out on stage and I can rock the stage and there's really no difference here. Or I am really good at coaching, or I know I can make an impact because of what so-and-so said to me the other day. And so you start looking back on your past successes, and that's going to give you the confidence and the motivation and the courage to move forward with whatever it is that's holding you back now. So that's the third step. The fourth step, when it applies, is I'll make a little to-do list. So let's say that I am about to launch a product, and I looked at somebody else's launch and then I started feeling bad about myself, and then my inner critic came up, and then somebody, gave me some outer criticism, and I'm just feeling terrible about this launch, and I'm thinking about no longer even launching the product anymore. Well, what I've done is I've become aware right? And then what I did is I moved forward and I did the logic, I built up that confidence, and now I'm going to make a to-do list. So what I would think to myself is, okay, the next few steps that I need to do in this launch, I need to send an email to X person and ask if they'd be willing to email their email list for me. I need to prepare the email I'm going to send to my email list on the day of the launch. I need to finish my webinar outline. I need to set up the payment button for the sales page, or whatever it is. And notice that those are all very specific small action items. I don't have anything big like run webinar or go climb Mount Everest. And they're all like little tiny action items that I put on my to-do list. And this works wonder for your subconscious, because your subconscious just needs to know what action items are next. And normally when we have to manage our mindset, we've gotten to the place where seems so big and overwhelming, and your subconscious doesn't know how to manage that. It doesn't know how to get through it. It needs an action item list, right? So we've created our to-do list, and then my last mindset step is that I take action on one of those items. So I will look at the first one. I'll send an email to X person and ask them if they will email their email list for me. As soon as I write that email, I cross off the list, and what happens is that builds your confidence even more. It gets you further away from the mindset issue where you're feeling like you suck, and it's getting you in action. It's building that momentum again, which is going to help carry you through the rest of the launch, and ultimately that's what helps you see success. But most people never get to that point, because most people, as soon as they start doubting themselves, they let that emotion grow, and it literally stops them dead in their tracks. And maybe they'll launch it, but they're not going to do the follow through like they would need to in order to make it a smash hit, right? Because if you get to the point of launching and you don't have good follow through, then there goes most of your success for the entire launch. A launch you have to just keep going until you know you've done everything that you can to launch that with full intention, full success, full throttle. And if you don't, if you only do 10% or 15% testing the waters because you're uncomfortable, you're not going to have success with that launch. So no matter what it is, whenever you feel down, negative, you're doubting yourself, you're questioning, you're unhappy, go through this 6-step process again: the awareness, the logic, the confidence, the to-do list, take action. And the last piece, the 6th step, really, this is kind of corny, but what I do is I recognize my efforts. I give gratitude and thanks. I pat myself on the back, if you will. Because it's not easy managing your mindset. If it were, everybody would do it, and 90% of people don't do it probably. I'm just guessing on that statistic, but most people do not manage their mindset well, and it holds them back in so many ways. But literally what I do is I think, wow, look at what I just did. I was feeling just terrible about myself, and I got off the couch, I put in that workout DVD, kind of forced myself in the beginning, didn't want to do it, but I finished that workout and I feel amazing. I have energy, my body is so happy. I know that I'm more limber, I feel great. What else can I go accomplish? And I literally just rest in that recognition and that gratitude, and that is very important. When you tackle that email inbox, recognize your efforts. Wow, I just have been feeling terrible about this. For months, I have let myself feel stressed out about my inbox, and look, I have 5 emails. This is awesome. I should go reward myself. And do it. Go reward yourself. I have friends that will eat a handful of M&Ms when they do something good for themselves, or you could go on a walk, or you could go play music, or take a break at work, or whatever it is that's going to make you happy. But I do think it's important to recognize your efforts. And the last few comments that I have as we're winding down here is I want you to know that you are the thing that's getting in the way of your success. And that's really hard to face. Most people aren't willing to face that, but you are, because you're here, you're on a mission, you want to change the world, you want to make a greater life for yourself and your family, and you are the one standing in the way of doing that. If you want to be healthier, happier, if you want to have a better relationship, it's time to commit. It's time to be focused and disciplined and have that follow through and recognize your efforts. Don't be so hard on yourself. The secret weapon to all of this, and I mentioned it earlier, it's your why. If your why is big enough, it'll help you get through anything. But if your why is teeny tiny, small, or it doesn't really mean that much to you, then you're not going to get that done. Your why, the reason why you're doing whatever it is that you're doing, has to be so big that it gets you through the stuff that sucks, to be honest, that's not very fun, that's challenging, where you have that dread. Think about your why. What I would encourage you to do is make a comment below and let me know, what's your why? Is it your family, your kids? Is it your health, your success? Maybe money is your why. Maybe it's because you want to give back to your community. What's your why? And I would encourage you to write that in the comments below. And also, maybe this could be fun. Let me know one thing that you overcame. Think back on your mindset. Think of a time when you dreaded something, but you stepped up, you managed your mindset, and you did it anyway. And put that in the comments below. I'd love to continue the conversation and interact with you there. I really hope that you got some nuggets out of this video today, and I want to make sure that if you'd like more training opportunities, go to authenticleaderacademy.com, sign up for our next live webinar, and we're going to have a Q&A portion where I can answer any questions that you have about your mindset or about your online business, whether it has to do with social media or your content or branding, product launches, you name it, I want to be here for you. That's at authenticleaderacademy.com, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for joining us.